Welcome to b3mtb podcast, where we talk about bikes, bruises, and beverages.
Yeah, we're just your average dudes talking about our mountain bike adventures. We're glad to have you here with your host, John Earle.
And Sally Hall.
We are up on Instagram and YouTube at b3mtb. We try to put our pics and videos out on Instagram as it relates to what we're talking about, so feel free to go check it out. YouTube is mostly the video of our shows, so you can catch the backdrop and all the cool things we get to see.
Yeah.
But also, feel free to reach out to us. We're at b3mtbcrew@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, and I think as we kind of get our feet wet in this process, we're going to start getting group rides, just hangout sessions, and yeah, I think it can be pretty fun. So hopefully people join in. I know there's a lot of community stuff that the bike community already has, and hopefully we can tag along and you guys can hang out with us as we do that.
Yeah, because where we're at today, Sally, go ahead and tell us where we're at.
We're back.
Back.
Adrenaline Bike Works.
We love this shop.
Yeah.
Such a good shop. And they are a big proponent in group rides and being a part of the community. So maybe that's kind of where we'll start out.
Yeah.
And get their support and learn how they do it. And
well, they like getting together, like they already do group rides. They were telling me, well, I saw that they have a Christmas night ride, December 17th. And we did, I think my family did this last year. Yeah, we did it last year. And so you like everyone decks their bikes out and like Christmas lights and stuff like that. And then they go ride a lap or two in Mount Dora. And it was a lot of fun. Yeah. It's pretty safe. Like they make sure like kids aren't going to wander off and everyone stays together. And it's a good time. And then they come back and they got food usually. So, you know, stuff like that. It's like they already have it in place. Why not?
I didn't get to do it last year. Do you remember what trails they were on? Or I think I might bring my 5-year-old.
Yeah, so as I remember, there were some kids that, like, they stayed at the Skillsville wooden area, just riding around up there, that kind of parking lot area. And then I think the majority of the group just did the Florida Flow.
Okay.
Which is their kind of, if you don't know Mount Dora, it connects everything. None of the advanced features, none of the advanced trails. It's kind of like this fun up and down. It's a good mountain biking trail for everyone, really.
Awesome. Yeah.
But they also I don't really care about road rides at all. I hope ever.
They are a big gravel ride.
Yeah, there's on Friday. They said Friday and Sundays at like 8 a.m. They have a big road group that comes here, and they do like on Friday they call it the Friendly 40. And then Sunday they go to a bakery. I'm going to butcher it. It's the Yahala. Yahala. Dang it.
It's a good bakery. Where do they say where they start for that one? That's a far ride.
No, it's from here. They start from here.
And go to Howie in the Hills? Unless they have another location over here. That's a far ride.
Are there road bikes?
Road bikes, yeah.
I feel like this podcast is rapidly turning into me butchering names. And appropriately, we're going to talk about Balm Boyette. Boyette. Balm. Which just turns into Balm. But we'll get there in a second. But yeah, so we're back here at Adrenaline. And they are ready for the holiday season. We had to move actually quite a lot of merchandise. They're stocked up, which is good to see. And I think I'll probably come back here. They said Troy Lee Design stuff, which is, I have a lot of Troy Lee Design stuff now. It's 35% off until Christmas.
Oh, that's not bad. I got my Troy Lee helmet, my full face. Actually, I'm looking up on the shelf. I can see my helmet that I have right now. They are stocked, not only with bikes, but with gear, which is, like you said, is good to see because we went through a long time where you couldn't get a hold of bikes for nothing.
No, but yeah, they got a ton of bikes, ton of gear. I think they updated their kids area too. They added more gear, so I'm definitely coming here. You have your full face helmet is the year after the same exact model for me.
So you automatically have to get a new one.
Yeah, yeah. Helmets, it's just one fall, and you got to get a new one. And we fall quite a lot. Actually, I didn't like have a bad fall today. I rode Mount Dora before this. Came off the bike, put my foot down a couple times, but I smashed my pinky into one of the trees. Just awesome.
On Gravity Destroyer, or what were you on?
No, I think it was. I know it's right before Ham Dog Hill, because Ham Dog Hill is one of my favorite trails at Mount Dora. But there's a few skinny trees right before that, where it's like the distance between these two trees is just about 1 inch wider than the distance of my handlebars.
Right.
And we've talked about this before, but my balance and like I'm not a precision athlete, you know what I mean? and it feels like that's a pretty tight squeeze. And I got it wrong. I got it wrong. But I did first try on the Big Dipper, which is named after their big wooden feature that's very steep, very big. Obviously. Let's see. Right before that, they got that little U-turn skinny. I did it first try.
That feels good, doesn't it?
Right, that's only the second time I've ever done it, and I've sessioned that a lot. The second and third lap, I got maybe a quarter of the way, and then I just fell over. Yeah, I did it the first time, and I was as surprised as anything. I was just like, oh my gosh. So I'm living the dream right now. Yeah, dude, I'm so happy.
So today we're going to talk about Balm.
Oh yeah, what are we drinking though?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's not forget that.
It's so easy to forget about it.
Yeah, because
yours is almost all the way gone already. I'm starting out with I did something different. I went with a Cat 5 Key Lime lager. It's really good.
How key limey is it?
It's not. It's got a little bit of an aftertaste, but it's really not.
Okay.
It's not from Florida though. It's from.
So there's a key lime lager, and it's not from Florida.
That makes sense, right? Cat
Like
5 Key Lime, like you'd think like Cat 5
Hurricanes
in
Key Lime.
Keys.
Yeah.
It's not. It's from Delaware. It's really far up there.
Do they have key lime pie and Hurricanes up there?
I don't know.
No,
I've never been to Delaware, so
maybe these Delaware guys were just like, we can crush the Florida market.
Yeah.
let's do something.
Get the rights to the name. And then I'm going to finish out with a Golden Road Mango Cart. Again, I'm going with the fruit. I don't know.
You almost went with another fruity one. You are. I mean, fruit's good. It's healthy for you. I think that's good.
Yeah, but that other fruity one was too strong for me. I need a light fruity beer. But this one's apparently from Los Angeles, so I'm not in Florida.
You're not a local guy at all today.
Not in Florida at all today.
All right. I got to remember. I've never heard of this. Central 28. Never heard of it before. It's out at DeBerry.
Okay.
But it's their
Backwoods.
show pigeon, and it's delicious. It might be one of the best beers I've had in quite a while.
What is it?
It's just an IPA.
Oh.
And it's delicious. I mean, I haven't had food in a couple hours, so maybe like that affects it. But I was like, this is amazing. That's why like we're starting the show, and I'm like almost empty.
Doesn't affect the way the beer tastes. Not having food, it's going to affect the way our podcast comes out later in the end.
Yeah,
but
stay tuned. In 15 minutes, it's going to be a different show.
But then what are you finishing out with?
Oh yeah. So also two things I've never heard of. This is out of Tampa, Hidden Springs Ale Works. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't know either. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover.
Is that what it's called?
No, just I'm getting into something.
Yeah, I was gonna say because the can. I mean, it looks like it's just someone slapped a label on a can.
It did.
That'd be the perfect name for it.
So it would be a good name for it. So Hidden Springs Ale Works out of Tampa. Let me finish. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but I judge the shit out of alcohol beverages by their labels. And this is definitely one of they can it and then they throw a label on it. But it's Orange Crush, an American wheat beer with wildflower honey and sweet orange peel. So I'd like to apologize about making fun of you for drinking fruity beers because
we're not all out of the closet yet.
It's
That label is
wildflower honey. It's like a traditional American tattoo where it's just like random things. So orange crush with wildflower honey. So there's a bear on it holding a honey jar. I get that. Don't know why there's a dagger with what looks like, is that blood dripping off?
maybe
And
water for our kid viewers.
Sure. For our kid viewers. There's a broken bone, a bomb, a lighter.
This is a canned beer that you buy and you put on your shelf behind your bar.
Yeah, no, this is 100% like.
I like that.
Yeah, and then they have a few flowers, a diamond. Like I have
A UFO, brass knuckles,
brass knuckles,
a Zippo lighter,
a hat.
That's pretty cool.
Molotov cocktail. Is that Molotov?
Molotov.
Damn,
Another
this
mispronounced
podcast it really is. So I lived in Denmark for 2 years, and they all spoke English, but
They all threw Molotov cocktails.
no, the more Eastern Bloc. But so they just assumed that I was like perfect English, right? They didn't know that I was an idiot when it comes to the English language. So I could mispronounce things all the time. They'd be like, "Oh, that's how you say it," and I'd be like, "Yeah."
You're so smart.
So I had that for a year, and then these 3 Canadians came on the team, and then they started making fun of me, and my good times ended. But yeah, for a year of my life, like I was an expert.
On cloud 9.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I was in command of the English language.
All right, so now we got that out of the way. Again, I'm going to look at that can because that can is so cool. I'm probably going to buy one before I leave.
I would like to know where to buy them. Hey, I remembered what trail I fell on. We talked about Carter Road last time. It wasn't the Fingers. It was Jared's Revenge. And that, I think I put a picture on my personal one. I'm so terrible about putting stuff on Instagram. Like it's really hard to like be good at Instagram, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely need to have have like a 13-year-old on board that can handle our social media for sure. Jared's Revenge. So you get the Jared's Revenge, I think, through Big Mama.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's closed. It's one of those. It's definitely a harder trail.
Yeah.
I have a good story about Jared's Revenge. I don't know if we have time to go into it today, but
send it, dude. We have no time limit.
No, I'm gonna wait for it because it involves a guest that we can bring on,
yes.
and it's another one of his fall stories. So we'll save it for him. That's a good one, and I'm excited to get to that. I'm glad that you brought that up.
It was my favorite trail at Carter until I fell. Now I'm like, dude, that's not even that great of a trail. We don't need to do it, guys. All right, today we're moving on to Balm Boyette.
Balm Boyette.
Can we just call it Balm from now on?
Actually, say the whole thing.
Oh my gosh,
because it is a tongue. Dude. It is a mouthful. What is it?
It's Balm Boyette Scrub Nature Preserve, which, like,
no mountain biker has that in their vocabulary.
Yeah, like, it just sounds weird. Balm Boyette Scrub Nature Preserve. Like, you couldn't just say Balm Boyette Nature Preserve.
A mountain biker would say, "Hey, bro, you want to go scrub that net?" And everyone would be like, "Yeah, dude, you want to go to Balm? All right, I got it."
So let's just call it Balm from here on out, and we can just get a petition to change the name.
Can't go anywhere.
Yeah. So, I looked online, and they said it's very important to the Scrub Nature Preserve ecosystem, and it's not that I don't care.
But also fix your name.
But also, let's just add more trails. They do have. It's 23 miles of single track on 5,700 acres.
It's a lot of land. I don't think they don't have the trails all over that land though.
No. The potential is huge, but I don't think they want. I don't know. There's probably some people that don't want to add any more trails, but in a weird way, like the more you add trails to an area, the more people care about that trail, and the more they want to like take care of it.
Right.
So let's add more trails.
23 miles of single track and 15 miles of double track.
Yeah, and this one is Yeah, I think it says 12 easy, 14 intermediate, and 8 difficult trails. A really good mix. This is going to be my favorite trail within an hour and a half drive. Not the trail system that if I could only ride one, I would not pick this one. Like if I could only have one, this would not be it. But every time I come here, it's just, to me, it's a little bit faster. It's flowy. The trails connect really well together.
They do, absolutely.
I mean, the ride in from the parking lot kind of sucks.
I have trouble with this trail system. It connects very well, but if I'm looking for something specific, to me, it's hard to find. And I don't want to sound dumb, but I've spent, last time we rode there 2-3 weeks ago, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I got there before you. I spent 9 miles looking for a jump line that wasn't there. And I just found that out today. So it's easy for me to get lost here, and maybe just I'm inexperienced, but.
Well, the first couple times, I remember, so you ride for a couple hours, you're tired, you know you have kind of a longer exit because it's a long entry to get to this system. And they don't have great parking signs. And it's like parking and it like points somewhere. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And then like 5 minutes later, you're like, there should be another sign, and there's not.
On your way, but I think I've actually experienced this because I was trying to go meet you, and I'm like, oh, parking sign shows this way. I just have to jump on this trail, and it doesn't. You jump on the trail, and it brings you back to where you started, heading back from. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it gets confusing, but it actually does flow really well, like you said. I've only been there with you, except for that time where I was meeting you. I was a little early and got lost. How do you ride this trail system?
So, yeah, from the parking lot you go in, and there's once you ride it or you look at a map, there's actually a pretty good system. There's an outer loop, there's an inner loop. Both the outer loop has a name, the inner loop has a name, and it's like, okay, so the inner loop is the B loop, the outer loop is the A loop. And then
what's the C loop?
Where's the C loop?
There's C. And
Never mind. There's C, D, E. Okay, you know what?
I
literally have the map in front of me. I'm reading it, so I'm not great at English or reading maps. So we're gonna find a talent. Maybe in episode 5. Probably not.
Yeah, that's what it does confuse me a little bit, and I think probably the B and the E and all that stuff has
the C
to do
loop
with like hiking or maybe horses or something.
So I think that those are the multi-use trails. The multi-use trails are kind of for mountain bikers, they connect everything. Right. The single track trails are specifically for mountain biking, but there are going to be hikers that use these feeder roads. And then the number system is, honestly, I'm looking at the map, and I think the number system goes
left to right.
Left to right.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. Is that north?
You would assume.
Yeah.
North.
No, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay. So it goes west to east numerically. We're figuring this out.
It's going to make my next ride there a lot easier.
Well, so that's what I was going to bring up is before you, like sometimes you can just ride places and everything is more or less self-explanatory. Mm-hmm. Alafaya. It's hard to get lost there.
Mount Dora.
Yeah, Mount Dora is great because you just keep going and it'll bring you back to where you started.
All right.
You can get a little bit turned around in Balm, and but once you kind of get the basic understanding of layout, so if you see the sign B3, I just randomly looked at that, but
you have to go west.
Yeah, you have to go west. And if you don't know your cardinal directions,
get a watch.
Get a watch, a phone. Probably look at the sun, but
how do you start?
So if I'm there early and I have a decent amount of time, sometimes we do Inception, which is this green trail. It goes lots of turns. It's a flat pedal.
Lots of pedaling.
Lots of pedaling. Sometimes we skip that, but if I'm with my dad, we are definitely doing Inception. He is
because Pop said so.
Because Pop said so.
Need to listen to it.
Yeah. I mean, and he will stop after Inception, and he will coach me. like I'm an 8-year-old playing baseball, and I'm like, Dad, can we just ride? But the problem is, like, he's always right.
What is he riding now?
So he's got that Canyon e-bike. I don't know what the Canyon's called, but he loves that e-bike, and he gets way more miles on his bike.
So he can ride Inception and just
doesn't even worry about it. Yeah,
come on, Tally, let's go.
Hurry up, work on your cornering. Yeah. And that's his big thing is cornering. And I'm like, whatever, but he's always right. Every time I listen to him, so much faster in and out of the turns, which makes riding more fun. But he still got his 2013 Specialized little stump jumper, so he still rocks that every once in a while. But when he can, classic move. He bought the e-bike for my mom in a frame size that he can ride. So it's just genius. He'll say that he rides my mom's bike a lot, but it's fast turning into a shared bike between the two. So every once in a while I'll do Inception, but I start with Nemesis, which again, it's like you connect everything. And like once you hit Nemesis, like the fun starts. Like Inception, if you want to skip it and you're like, there's enough of a warm up, just, pedaling for 10 minutes to get in here. It is. And I feel like so last time we rode it, I hadn't ridden in a while. And so I didn't really branch out in what I do. But when I'm feeling good, like starting with Nemesis, there's little like hits, like little stumps and rocks that you can jump off of, and you kind of land up on the hill and come down. Like there's a lot of, I don't know what you call it, like flare, steez. Yeah, it's a good hashtag.
Steez on it.
Yeah, good hashtag on the Instagram. And but there is an opportunity to really kind of find features that a beginner rider just wouldn't see, and as you feel good, you're like, dude, I can hit that, land on there. It's a lot of fun, and it's on like everything's on a hill. So the Balm Boyette Scrub Nature Preserve is an abandoned phosphate mine.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I looked up what a phosphate, like what you mine and like what you use phosphate for. Phosphate fertilizer. I'm like, that's not really an answer that helps me out at all. Mm-hmm. If I don't know what phosphate is, I don't know what phosphate fertilizer is. So I don't know why anyone gets phosphate, or if I've used it before. But it's an abandoned mine. So I'm sure if you fall in the water, you'll become radioactive. Yeah. But so all those pits, they have, like, the trails are off of that. So a lot of the trails are on kind of a hill, so it's easy to climb, get some speed, climb up, and then you're going down. So the elevation change, and we talked about it. I think they said the elevation change was 326 feet, but it feels like you're going up and down a lot. And that's why it's my favorite, just because you're constantly doing that roller coaster effect where fast up, fast down. You can really push the limit of how fast you're going. Mm-hmm. Into turns and stuff like that. So I start with Nemesis, Loch Ness. There's one of them I skip.
Gator Pit, probably.
I think I skipped Gator Pit.
I don't think I've ridden Golf Cart. I could be wrong, but because once you get out of Nemesis, you can hit the spider berms.
Yeah. So I think we do spider berm, upper spider berm, and then we basically go straight to canyon. So no, I do go. I think I skip. So my dad has this all done. I've done all these but I skip spider berms and I go to golf cart.
Oh, is that
I
what it
don't
is?
do gator pit.
I've done gator pit. When you're looking at the map, though, you look at gator pit and you're like, oh, that's pretty long. That could be decent, but it's literally like 0.3 miles.
Yeah,
it's
just,
nothing.
Yeah, it's just a quick, like one of those U-turn down and backs, but it's directional. So, so the first couple for me are just wild fun, and it's a really good warm up. And then Canyon, I think Canyon is a blue. Is that what it says? Yeah, Canyon shows a blue. I have myself, Erica, we've had actually pretty bad falls on Canyon. There's actually some pretty technical turns. And if you're like, hey, this looks kind of gnarly and you're a beginner rider, you can easily just get off your bike, walk it. It's not like you're doing anything steep, but there's some fun little switchbacks on that are fun when you get them right. And I think I know I've crashed into a couple trees and bailed, but that to me starts kind of the intermediate expert level trails. And like, that's when like the real riding, like warm up has stopped. The riding has begun when I hit Canyon. And then from Canyon, it kind of gets into they got North Abyss, South Abyss, and it kind of connects to everything. Do you remember anything about Canyon? That's the one with the real steep climb.
Out?
Yes,
Yeah.
out, yeah.
That's changed a little bit, though.
Yeah,
I didn't get to. So when we hit Canyon last time, our first time, I managed that climb out. It was tough, but I did it.
I remember thinking, like, I was so proud of myself when I did that climb. It took me a couple efforts. Like, climbing and mountain biking is so weird. You look at a hill and you're like, that's going to be really easy, and then you get up there and it feels really steep. So I did that, and then we rode together, and I was like, man, I really struggled with it. Well, let's see if Earle can do it.
You automatically doubted me. I appreciate that.
You did it so easy, and I was like, I was like, God, I feel.
I didn't do it last time, though, because we had talked about it. It's changed a little bit. Your old man said it changed a little bit. It didn't look like it changed a little bit, but I actually I remember I didn't go in because we hit that on the way back, right? And I was smoked. I mean, my legs were cramping. I actually found a way out of the trail.
They have kind of a ride around now.
Yeah. I took the ride around. I was like, there's no way I'm getting up it.
Well, you'd already been riding for like 9-10 miles. I thought, 9 miles when we met. And then, so yeah, you're over 10 miles. And that thing, you got to go fast to get into it. It's kind of a weird little entrance. And then it's like an uphill over rocks. Yeah. So it's not like it's this easy thing. Your tires are constantly kind of bouncing in between stuff.
I remember we were hitting, we were coming, I don't know, maybe it was one of the abysses, or we're back. Ridgeline was closed that day.
Yeah.
But what is the one that goes like along the side of Ridgeline almost?
Sidewinder.
Sidewinder?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Deceiving, because it kind of throws you off.
Yeah.
And it for me at least, it always pushes me to the right, which is like, if you
downhill.
If you go right.
It's downhill.
It's downhill, not a trail, right? So I was doing that, and then I was catching cramps left and right, and I was just like, oh. And I remember Erica I was like, I got off. I was like, you just go. And she was like, no, you're fine. I'm like, no, I'm not fine, because she always likes to ride in the back.
Yeah, she doesn't like she doesn't want to slow anyone down, and I'm like,
I don't want to slow her down. You know?
I know, but
I'm like, no, just go. She's like, no, you're fine. I'm like, I'm cramped up. She goes, oh, okay. Yeah. And then I found my way out, and it was like, oh, God. But that's not the first time. Like, there's so much riding here, and like you said, if you push yourself hard.
Oh, my gosh. This would be a great, like, if you're. So I don't believe that mountain biking the way we do is like fitness. It's exercise, but it's not fitness. You can do fitness on Balm. Like, for me, Alafaya, not fitness. You're sessioning stuff, you're riding, you're having fun. Mm-hmm. The amount of calories in the beer that you drink after that is going to surpass the amount of calories you burned in the ride.
Right.
But here at Balm, I definitely think there's an opportunity. If you're like, hey, I'm doing a cross-country race and I want to train, you could train here. You do a couple laps, and you're there. Like it can be definitely tough.
Yeah, I remember that, and that brings me to that one time we rode Ridgeline, or I guess the first time we rode Ridgeline. I rode Ridgeline. You guys love Ridgeline, and it's great.
It is to me, it's the best trail. It's the best trail for trail riding in Florida. Like of the things I've done in Florida, because it's a black trail. There's like you could fall pretty hard. There's not a lot of jumps, but it is steep up, steep down for, it's probably a 15-20 minute trail start to finish. And it is just wild. Like it is so much fun. It is so cool.
Yeah, it is. And I was very disappointed when we rode it the first time, and I rode it. I was like, man, this is awesome. This is my first time here. You guys are like, hey, you want to hit it again? I'm like, no, I do not. I remember I sat on one of those benches and waited for you guys, and I contemplated. It was one of those miserable moments where I laid down, I looked up at the sky, I was contemplating what I was doing. But that trail is amazing.
So I'll give you a little bit of credit, because I think Ridgelines, you can make Ridgeline really hard, or you can actually learn. Like, if you don't know Ridgeline, it's very hard. If you have ridden it a couple times and you get the flow of it, you can maintain speed easier. But if you don't know it, like, some of these downhills are, like, again, very steep. So you're not just going to send it 100% on the first one. You're going to, like, hey, we're going to do the smart thing. It's like pre-ride,
almost pre-ride.
Yeah. So you're kind of like pre-riding it as it goes. Like, you can see what you're doing for the most part, but you're not just like letting go of the brakes. As you get comfortable, you let go of the brakes, and that speed carries you up the hill. Instead of climbing the whole hill, you're climbing half the hill. Climbing half the hill is way better. It's 4 times, scientifically speaking, 4 times better than climbing the whole hill. And like, if you just chunk that out, hey, I only climb this hill like halfway and this hill halfway, it doesn't take many hills to make a big difference. Yeah. No, to make it worth a second round instead of just laying on the bench contemplating life choices.
And I think I was out of water at that time too. So I was full miserable.
So there are people that skip everything when Ridgeline's open, and they'll do Ridgeline 4 or 5 times and then go home. Like, I get it, but it is the best trail there. But I think the other ones are worthy of being ridden.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Like, everything's so good. It's like, obviously, if you look at the map and you're looking at the east side of the map, those trails are awesome.
Yeah.
But everything is so good that, like, and it takes an hour and a half, almost 2 for me to get out there. So it's like, I can't just miss out on all this other stuff that I know I like riding.
Yeah.
Just to get to the end. So sometimes by the time you get to the end, you're beat.
Yeah. Yeah, you're pretty smoked. But I will say, like, we talked about the like, some of the things I've missed, like this Pandemonium 1, 2, and 3. Like, I don't remember ever riding that. And I might have done it once, but like, you kind of have to be looking at a trail map, or like with a local or someone who's ridden it,
to know you're on it.
To know that you're there.
Yeah, because it's easy to come out of, like you said, when you come out of well, no, South Abyss, but when you come out of, I'm completely wrong.
So yeah, we typically we go canyon, then we do North Abyss, and so the game my dad always plays is foot down 3 or less times. Less than 3 times is you've had a good ride. So if you can do North Abyss clean, you're having a really good day. Anything less than 3 times putting your foot down, you're doing okay. More than 3 times, then maybe just take it easy. It is like North Abyss was, I mean, it is one, like the Abysses, North Abyss, South Abyss, and God, I've already said I have a few favorites. Like, that's fast up downhill. They changed it. Remember the
drop,
bro?
Is that the big drop right there where it's late?
No, big drop is different.
Okay.
So they have after the hurricane, I think a tree fell.
After Hurricane Ian.
Ian, yeah.
Right,
There've been
we just had
a couple.
another.
Yeah, stupid Nicole. And
She tried to be a hurricane.
yeah, she tried to be hurricane. Gosh, such a millennial hurricane, you know?
Yeah, no. After Ian, I remember sitting there, and we had just did most of the trail right,
Yeah.
and we were waiting, we were catching our breath, relaxing. I remember I had a cramp. And
the last time you're gonna ride 9 miles before you go.
before you show up, yeah, maybe if you're on time. But we're sitting there catching our breath to continue the rest of the trail, and another group comes up, 2 guys, and they look at it like, oh, this is different, and we're like, what? Because yeah, there's a big old tree here.
Yeah, so we walk up, check it out, right? What were your first thoughts when you looked at it?
When I looked at it, I'm like, oh God. I was like, I'm going around this. I was like, my legs already aren't working. I was like, and now there's this big old tree that they made a drop off of that I didn't know, because you can't see it from where we're at.
No, you have to.
So we thought it was just a natural.
You have to be committed to the trail.
I don't know if it was a full drop or maybe just a down, but it wasn't as big as it was when we rode it that day.
No, so it used just to be downhill.
Right.
Like you just kind of like, there's another steep downhill, and it followed by a very steep uphill.
Well, now there's a big old tree there, and these guys are like, oh, there's a tree here. So we're like, well, it's a good thing we waited and caught our breath for you guys to point out this massive
because it's
obstacle.
a tree and then a drop.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at it, I'm like, okay, this is fine. We talked about hitting the right side was easier than the left side.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, turns out this isn't going to be that big of a deal. We're just going to ride it here. Probably can't roll it. I almost
rolled it.
I ended up rolling it, which almost put me over the bars and like would have been falling on my face after a 20-foot. Like,
I remember those guys being like, all right, we can do this. And I was like, you were like, all right, you ready to go? And you rode. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're just going for it.
Yeah. So on the right side, it looked like super smooth. The landing was better on the right side. And like, I don't know why, but I didn't see there was a bump. There was like a downhill bump, like a little downhill, and then it hit the tree. So it's like there was a hole before the tree on the right side.
Yeah, that really messes you up.
Like I couldn't even like bunny hop off of it. Like it just, my weight was thrown off. Like I was in straight panic mode because I knew I wasn't going to be able to lift my bike up. So now I'm rolling something that I had previously said can't be rolled, and I don't know how close I was to falling, but afterwards I was like, I'm not going to do that again. There's no way I won't fall if I do that again. And then Erica was there, and she was like, you looked really bad going over that. You didn't look coordinated at all. I'm like, yeah.
It felt good though. It was it turned into a good drop. I mean, I think they need to, if they haven't yet, fill in that divot, because someone's gonna probably get hurt on that. Yeah,
I think
it is, because the right side is definitely the most doable side. So anyone who doesn't normally send bigger drops, can look at that and be like, okay, if I do it right here, I can do it, right?
Yeah,
but then there's that divot that really throws you off. Yeah,
and the trails in Balm probably, like, they're not really designed for you to catch air. It's a lot of steep stuff, but you're not catching a lot of air at Balm. So for that to be there when someone who's not ready to hit that drop,
it's a technical drop.
Yeah, and way more technical than I gave it credit for. Agreed. I'm excited to go back and re-hit it, but
without stopping. I'd like to go all the way through. Yeah, but yeah, a decent speed, a good positioning, and just a good angle on the way down. It's an easy drop.
And it might be kind of hitting it from the left side and landing on the right side, I think might be the answer. But that was my first time riding, I remember, in a while, and I tried to do earlier things that I had felt really good about, like Nemesis, and
I remember you saying it just wasn't
feeling right. It wasn't feeling like I usually I'm gonna land up on the hill and ride back down to the trail and look, in my head, really cool. So anyway, I crashed on that one, and I was like, You crash in the first 5 minutes, like it's tough to bounce back from that. So we do North Abyss, which is awesome. Serpentine, honestly, every trail that I talk about, I feel like I have like these favorite moments from. Serpentine is a blue trail, and I'm so excited as soon as I get on that. It's another one that's cut into a hill. To me, it's real fast. It connects you to from North Abyss. It connects you to
Fire road almost.
Well, it connects you to a fire road, which brings you to Sidewinder. That's what I was going to say. It connects you to Sidewinder, and then Sidewinder is what hooks you up to Ridgeline. And Ridgeline, just to put it out there, it's a seasonal trail. I think I looked on some of the biker websites, and I think it's going to open this weekend.
Yeah, imagine it took a little bit to clean it up. It's a harder trail to get to clean up after the 2 storms we had.
Yeah.
Shout out to that crew who that's a hard one to get out to. I mean, you can't, what are you taking, chainsaw on bikes? Chainsaws clean up on bikes?
Yeah.
To get out there? I mean, you're not taking.
I scared the crap out of this guy was like working by himself and on Sidewinder. And he was not thinking anyone was riding that day. Because typically I ride like noon. And not a lot, like people are like early morning riders or like afternoon riders. And typically, like I said, I'd do all my riding middle of the day. And like that guy nearly like jumped off the trail. Like he was already off the trail and he almost like jumped down the hill. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, you scared me." And I was like, "Well, bro, I wasn't expecting you either. Like you're just a random dude standing on the trail. Like it's fine."
Corner guy.
So, yeah, and it shows right here that Pandemonium is off of those trails. I don't think I've ever ridden them. You kind of hit Sidewinder, and Sidewinder breaks off. You can continue on Sidewinder. You go down Ridgeline, and like Ridgeline, it wasn't as hard as the sign made it look, because the sign has like warning, like extreme high speeds, death is imminent.
Enters with a little drop.
Yeah. So, like, I didn't ride it for a while because I was like, it seems really intense. And now it's obviously what I think is the best trail. But you do Ridgeline, it connects you back up to where Sidewinder and this fire road lead off to. And you can do that over and over. You can actually keep going. Have you ever ridden Gnarly Loop? Did you ever go over there?
I think we have.
I've only done it once. And
it doesn't stick out. Maybe I haven't.
So I looked at it, and again, like, I think you ride what you're good at a lot of times. And Gnarly,
is it really rocky?
It's like, it doesn't have a lot of steep downhills, but like it'll send you uphill really steep. And I'm like, well, I'm going to be walking my bike all of this. And then the downhills don't really look that great. It has a really cool drop in. It's like a little 2 to 3 foot drop in. I did that, but then I just walked my bike back up. I rode. I was like, no, and like it looks like all uphill. Like, that's not fun for me.
So you just pointed out to me Badlands. I like getting to Badlands. Yeah,
so Badlands, and again, like, no one knows what Badlands is by listening to us right now, but Badlands is their jump line.
It's small, but it's fun. I mean, the first half of it is fun.
Yeah, and honestly, I forget that there's a back half to that jump line because I never ride it. Because you hit we'll talk about the first 2 jumps, or first 3 jumps, but after that, then you'd have to pedal, and then it's like these pretty small jumps.
Almost rollers, kind of.
Yes, and like you have to to get back up to speed, like you're putting a lot of effort into hitting those jumps.
Yeah, and then the way back from those rollers is just
another uphill.
It's just an uphill. Like, I mean, you expect to go uphill for a jump line, but something that small, it's like you're putting in too much effort for those little. Just, to me, it's not worth it. But we had a fun session there. And you brought up a good point, and I need to hold you to it because we haven't done it yet.
Oh, God.
When we first get there, we need to drop a cooler off.
Yeah, it's been talked about. I thought you were gonna bring up the fact that I said we're gonna do backflips in 2022, and there's only 1 month left.
It's 1 month,
and
that was unrealistic.
In no way, shape, or form. Like, yeah. So,
what did I say though? I responded to that. I said backflips. I said no. What do we need to do? We need to perfect our whips.
Yes,
we did. I think we've done. Maybe
so,
not perfecting, but we've came a long way and made great progress.
So Balm is the place I threw my first whip, and I think I have a video because you just see my face after the jump, and I'm looking at Erica, who was videotaping this, because I would never have tried to do it in front of my friends. Like, you guys would have crushed me. So I was like, I was in my safe space. You can just see in my face, I'm so happy. In the video now, like, my back tire is maybe an inch offline. But
Sent it.
Dude, it felt like my world was sideways. I was like, dude, that's basically, I was in the X Games.
Yeah.
Is X Games still a thing?
I don't know.
That was such a big influence on my
BMX career.
I was gonna say my adolescence. I don't know. I never really had a BMX career.
That's my point.
Okay, fair enough. I walked into that one. But it is a great jump line. So the first jump is well, first of all, there's really like a beginner, intermediate, and advanced.
Yeah. Like a left to right, well, a right to left progression.
Yeah. And so, like, I brought my kids out there who don't really do much jumping, and they enjoy going on the right one because they roll it. It's fun. For the first two,
I still like going on the right one because you can keep your bike low and keep the speed for that step up.
Yeah,
and really send the step up.
Yes, and like we both tried like the little, what are they called, the nose bumps when you do like when you jump
nose
up
taps.
Nose taps. Yeah, so like I can't do the nose taps on the big ones, and I've tried to do them, but they're fun jumps. Like, they're really well built. There's actually and then the second jump has four levels. There's like, but the most extreme level has a very steep lip. Like, and I every time I go there and I'm hitting that big one, I'm probably like crashing at least one time.
Like at your limit almost.
Yeah.
I remember correctly though, the one far left, the most extreme on the second jump, almost isn't. It doesn't look like many people ride it. It's like kind of worn away and
like so pavers make these jumps.
Yeah.
Right. It's shaped with pavers, and there's like grass growing in the pavers, and it's a pretty steep lip. I've seen like BMX bikes come there, so maybe with a not 29-inch wheels,
a dirt jumper.
Like a dirt jumper would handle it well, but it kicks me up pretty fast. So I typically do the third one, and that still sends you. We had a lot of fun. And then the third jump is the step up. So you can hit the step up pretty fast. And if you're too fast and you like overshoot the landing, like the way the step up is, like it's like a 2-foot drop. You know what I mean? Like, so that was my experimental jump where I was like, I'm gonna try a whip. I'm gonna do it. Then I that 1 to 2 inch whip, I was like, babe, I sent it. I did it.
Everything looks smaller on that jump though. I think on a step up in general.
In a step up in general, yeah. So the landing is probably, I don't know, 3-4 feet higher. So if you just barely land on the landing, you've gained 3 feet of elevation. And so if you gain 6 feet of elevation, you're really only 3 feet above the landing. Yeah. And it doesn't look big, but it, like the jump itself, if you stood on the bottom of the jump, I'm over 6 feet tall. Like, the jump is taller than me.
Yeah, it's very deceiving. It's hard to capture.
And GoPro does not capture it very well.
Nope.
Probably not posting any of these videos.
I remember we were sending some pretty good whips on the last one. I mean, maybe we need to venture into different things, like instead of just whips, like maybe doing the one-hander, you've had experience with a one-hander or
so
the one-footer or.
I'm pretty comfortable jumping. Let's say 90% of the jumps out there, right? You go to Santos, that big jump line, like, yeah, I'm not there yet, and my bike probably isn't set up for it.
No, but those I already know. I think I know what you're gonna say is like you can get through these jumps.
Yeah,
but
the moment you ask me to take a hand off my handlebars or a foot off my pedal, like,
it changes the whole dynamic,
dude. I can't, like it. It's really hard to explain because it's so scary. And I've done a no-hander, okay? And you can't tell on video because it's less, like, both my hands are, like, less than an inch away from my handlebars, and then I'm right back. And so, like, you see these people who just throw it, and I'm like, I know that I have enough airtime. I can do it. But the fear that just
one mistake
crushes you. And I did my second seat grab was here at Adrenaline.
That's right.
They had a jump jam. So if you guys do want to do jumps and you're like a little bit scared, like, hey, I know small jumps, but I want to land on an airbag. I don't know if you guys, like, we know what an airbag is. It's like a huge inflatable slide, except the slide is designed for you to land on. Well,
the bike.
Yeah, this place has a slide.
They do it 2 or 3 times a week.
So yeah, they do Friday after, like, basically after school, so like kids can come home from school and go to the jump jam, and then Sunday starting at 11 all day. You can come out here. Parents, you can have some drinks and watch your kids get hurt, and then you can also ride. So, like, I did it. They had a jump jam, and so I was like, this is so cool. So I did a seat grab with my left hand. Well, your left hand controls your front brake. So when I went to re-grab my handlebar,
as fast as you can,
as fast and as hard as I can, because that is my safety zone. I also grabbed my front brake as hard as I can, and I went flipping through the air.
That's a good video. You should probably take a snapshot of that video.
Yeah,
and post that because that's a good one.
Yeah, so they had a video recording from the building of this jump jam, and it was live. They had one of their really cool events, and so I went back on their video, and yeah, that one it didn't really hurt.
No, you're landing on an airbag, and then
yeah,
I mean you probably rolled onto the concrete.
I rolled onto the concrete. It didn't really hurt, but like I got up, and it was just like one of those falls. Like, am I okay? And like there was like this 8-year-old sending this like no footer, no hander right behind me. I'm like, he wasn't doing anything wrong. I almost punched him in the face just because I was confused and angry at myself.
It's funny that are we done with? It's funny that you say that because I have yet to attend one of these jump jams with my bike because I think it's cool, right? And to practice, and everyone needs to practice and get better. Like I'm good at jumps. I like doing jumps. I want to get into more diverse tricks, let's say, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you show up here and Sean's kids are throwing backflips, and they're anywhere from 6 to 10 years old, and they're throwing backflips, you're like, how can I practice making my whip bigger if this kid's throwing a backflip right here? It's embarrassing to me.
Yeah. So, Sean, the owner, he's got a couple kids. Not for nothing. The kids are throwing backflips, doing no footer, no handers, like just crushing it. My kids come, and those kids are the first ones to be like, "Hey, dude, you can go in front of me." They are extremely nice. Like I've gone up to Sean and be like, "Hey, like yeah, obviously, like you are awesome because you own a bike shop, but I just want to say, like, your kids made my kids' day so much better." Like it was hats off to them. One of them just had a birthday. I don't remember, but it's like I saw it on Instagram. He's like upside down in the middle there. I'm like,
yeah, happy birthday.
It's not yeah, happy birthday. Like your birthday present is being able to do backflips on a bike. Okay. Yeah. So
anything else? What about Balm? You know, one thing I don't like about Balm,
What's that?
And I think you mentioned it in the beginning, is like the entry and exit.
Yeah.
And I say that because we really just talk about everything we do when we go there. And that ride out is just...
So again, scientifically speaking, the ride in and out is the same distance. But
I disagree.
But that ride out,
so much longer.
We're so tired. That's why we need to stash the cooler. If we stash the cooler, that ride out would be over in the blink of an eye. But we don't. And I mean, we're riding for like 10 minutes
on the way out. Yeah, something.
Yeah, it's not like you're like, oh, 10 minutes isn't that big of a deal. But it's
again though. It's my nemesis. It's flat pedaling. That's why I don't do Inception. I did Inception once. I'm like, I'm not doing that because I don't like flat pedaling. I like gravity to do it for me.
Yeah.
You know, I'll work on my way up, but flat is just to me, it's so pointless.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It's like road biking on sand.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's your first experience. Yeah. I can't wait. I really want to talk about racing because it's reminded me of how much I hate flat pedaling, and I want to talk about racing, of the one race I've done.
Yeah, so I think next time we can. I would love to talk about the races that we want to do next year because I want to commit to like a couple really good ones.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and do the training and preparing ourselves for it.
Yeah,
changing our bike to what we need to accommodate the race.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Travel, because a lot of the races aren't local. Like we might be traveling to get to the race, so it turns into more than just a race. It's like a weekend. It's camping. It's whatever. But I remember describing my first cross country race as like an hour and a half of just like misery. And like if you were running an hour and a half, like you're at a pace that like the end is hard. Cross country is.
I'd rather run an hour and a half.
Cross country is miserable from the first 30 seconds. The first 30 seconds, you're like, okay, I got it. After that, you're miserable.
I have let's do that on our next episode. I have a very good story about my cross country race, and I want to be better at it. But I don't.
Do we though? Do we want to be better at cross country?
That's our personality. I want to be better at it because I'm not good at it. But also, I hate it, and I do not want to be better.
So that's why I think enduro is going to be our race for 2023.
Yeah,
because it's long. You gotta ride everywhere, but you're only timing the downhills. So let's crush racing stories, and maybe what we got in store for 2023 on that, and then I think we're done with Balm. We got any merch shout outs? I got a few.
Go ahead. I did a couple in the last one.
So I am terrible about gift giving. I'm not like we're adults, right? Mm-hmm. So when my birthday's coming up, like you guys don't need to buy me a birthday present. You know why? I've been buying myself birthday presents all year long.
Yeah, I can buy whatever.
Okay. Yeah. And so I just like I'm not great at celebrating birthdays. I have never been. So Erica's birthday was the other day. Traditionally on
when, like this past week, since I've seen her like last week?
Like November 10th.
Oh gosh. That was a happy birthday, Erica. I'm sorry.
So yeah, happy birthday, babe. Also the Marine Corps' birthday. And so I always like first thing I do is like happy birthday Marine Corps. She doesn't like that. It is also the week that the Call of Duty used to come out when we were like dating. And so like she knew I was more excited about Call of Duty coming out than her birthday, as much as like I would tell her that I wasn't. Like she knew. Now it's Roundup week. And so like there's always something, like she always plays kind of second fiddle, which I did again. I'm not great. But this Australian mountain biking company came up on the Instagram, Darko. It's DHARCO. Uh-huh. I think I don't know how they. Again, this podcast is mostly me just making up pronunciations. Yeah. So I got her loaded out with some I was most excited about downhill riding pants. We did a downhill race last year, which we'll talk about, but like they didn't have a lot of, like, the industry in general, it's mostly dudes. They don't have a lot of women stuff, and they had some pretty cool women stuff. So I was really happy with that line. So it came in, she liked it. So thank you for saving me, because I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, you know, I was just lost. And then
well, I mean, she is looking for a new bike. You could have just spent thousands of dollars on that.
Yeah, so
next year.
she told me not to, because that was the real possibility for a while. I'm like, I don't know what to do. You know, we have more kids, we can sell them. Let's just. And she's like, hey, how about you don't? But we are looking at a new bike for her, because she's on a cross country bike, and she's like us. Like, she wants to do downhill enduro stuff, and that bike isn't set up for the right thing. And then it's not really a merch shout out for me, but we're looking pretty hard at manual trainers. So manual is when you're doing a wheelie but not pedaling, and I want to be good at those so bad.
We can, yeah. Do you have a company that?
No. Well, there's like Tilt Industries has one, and then is it the like Ninja Jumpers?
They have one too, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Ninja Jumpers.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ninja Jumpers for a manual trainer.
Yes. And they do have a sale. Erica like sent me a post. It was like 40% off their jumps. Which I'm like, dude, their jumps are pretty expensive. But have you ever tried to build a good jump?
You end up putting some money into it.
You end up putting a whole bunch of money into it, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Like, in the last 2 years, I've tried to build probably 5 jumps out of plywood, and they all are terrible. I ended up just throwing them away.
All right. So, hey, let's shout out to Ninja Jumpers.
Yeah.
Send us a manual trainer. We'll review it. We'll up our game. God, let's do it.
Yeah. No. For sure. Yeah. I mean, if you don't sponsor us, probably just going to buy one of your things anyway.
I mean, I am just sitting here looking at them in the shop, and
yeah, no, that's a Ninja Jumper. Yeah, behind us. I do want one of those jumpers, because there's like a retention pond next to my house.
Great landing.
Great landing, right? Yeah. But yeah, so I want, like, because like we were talking about, like, we want to diversify our tricks. But, like, again, a no-hander means that I'm in midair and I don't have any control of the handlebars. That's scary. If I'm good at manuals, it can look cool, but I feel like I'm in control of my bike. So that's, like, the happy medium that I've found. So, we got anything else?
I don't think so. I think we covered Balm very well.
Yeah.
Our shout out.
If you, it's worth the 1.5-hour drive from Orlando.
Yeah.
It's awesome. If not, all right, guys, go out, ride, enjoy yourselves, and we'll be back next week.
All right. See you then.
All right. See ya.